I'm here in Zion National Park in Utah, and we're going to talk about cravings and substitutions today. Two very fun topics, and cravings is one of those things that a lot of people have a misconception about. So most people think cravings are a weakness, but in reality, cravings are a positive thing. It's your body's way of telling you that something's out of balance, that it needs something. It's basically your body crying out for help. So instead of saying, oh, I'm awful, I have these horrible chocolate cravings and I always give into it and blah, 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 we want to say, oh, I've been having a lot of chocolate cravings lately, so that means that I must be deficient in something, so I get to find out what that might be. And then by finding that out, you realize that you can get your body back into balance. So this is the first reason why you might be having cravings. There's a lot of different reasons, and we're going to go over them all. So the first one is balance, yin and yang. So these principles, I'm sure you've heard them and you've seen the little circle with the black and the white, and it means balance. It's having a little bit of both and not being out of balance in one way or another. So yin things are very expansive foods. So these are things like sugar, not all foods, but alcohol, drugs, caffeine. They're things that make you feel really like, woo, expansive. There's also yang things, which are things that are more contractive. So things like salt or meat. If you were to put a teaspoonful of salt in your mouth would go like this, and it would contract. So that's contractive versus expansive. And so if we're eating more sweet things, more expansive things, then we would naturally crave more yang things, more contractive, to balance it out. Everything about our bodies is about balance. We're constantly trying to maintain homeostasis. So, your body's going to do whatever it needs to get back there, which sometimes it may mean really strong cravings. So yin and yang is something to pay attention to. If you're eating a lot more salty foods, you might want to balance it out with a little bit more sweet things. And we're talking naturally sweet, of course, not like Snickers bars and donuts and stuff like that. Next one is lack of water. So a lot of times when we have a craving for food, we're actually just thirsty. We're chronically dehydrated, and it's our body's way of crying out for help, saying, please, I need hydration. I need hydration to function my best. So this is a time, I always suggest, anytime you get a craving, the first thing to do is drink a full glass of water and see if that helps. And sometimes it will. Sometimes it's other things. So if it is, we move on to things like lack of primary food. And the school that I went to describes primary food as things that are nutritious to our body, but they're not food. So things like relationships, our career, our spirituality, physical activity, different things like this. And if those things are out of balance, we're going to get food cravings. So if you're stuck in a relationship that's really not working for you and is really painful for you, it's not going to be any surprise that you're going to get some serious food cravings, sweet cravings, and you're going to want to overeat and eat too much, because instead of dealing with the relationship that's not working for you, you're eating to avoid areas of avoidance, AOAs, as we'll talk a lot more about in the future. Same thing with a job. If you're in a job that's completely out of alignment to who you are, you're going to feel it, and your body's going to know, and it's going to try and correct it by avoiding pain and going for the first thing that seems pleasurable, which is unhealthy food. So really, we want to find a balance in our lives and make sure that we're living a healthy lifestyle that we really want to be, So if the job's not working, let's find a job that is in alignment with who we are and makes us feel really good and excited to go to every day. Same with the relationship. If it's not working, let's find a person who really fulfills us and makes us feel our best and makes us a better person. So after lack of primary food, we also have foods that you've eaten recently, foods that you ate during childhood, and also food that your ancestors ate. So foods you've eaten recently, your tongue keeps some particles of food on it after you've eaten. So if you've recently eaten pizza, then you might find yourself craving pizza a lot more throughout the next few weeks because you still have that taste in your mouth for it. And one thing we can do for this is a thing called a tongue scraper, which I love, and I try and use every single day because it really takes any leftover excess stuff in our mouth and gets it out of there. It's much more effective than using a toothbrush, which sort of just pushes stuff around on our tongue. This really gets it off. So maybe invest in a tongue scraper. The other one we talked about was foods we ate in childhood. So if you grew up eating things like peanut butter and jelly, macaroni and cheese, these are our comfort foods. So we might find ourselves craving those things because it's a comfort thing. It takes us back. So when this happens, we realize that something's out of balance for us and we need to really address it and dig in, ask ourselves what's going on, what's not feeling right. And one way we can do that is we can come up with substitutions, which we'll talk a lot about later. But to give you an example, for myself, I grew up eating peanut butter and jelly. And sometimes I just get that craving for peanut butter and jelly. And there are times when, I'll try and dig into it and I'll just resist. So instead of fully giving in and eating a peanut butter and jelly with bread that would make me feel not very good, I go and I get a brown rice cake and I put homemade strawberry chia jam that does not have any added sugar to it that I made and some almond butter. That's a healthier version. We'll talk more about that in substitutions. And then the third thing that we talked about here was food our ancestors ate. So our ancestry plays a large role in the foods that we crave and the foods that we thrive on. So as we talked about on power foods and draining foods, our power foods have a lot to do with our past, our background, our ancestry. Another thing we're talking about is a reason for craving seasonal food. Seasonally, you might get certain cravings. So naturally, we want to eat with the seasons. Our bodies want to do that. And when it's wintertime, we're naturally going to crave fatty foods. So we don't have to feel bad about the fact that we're getting fatty food cravings. We're really craving things that will keep us warm in the winter, like oils and nuts and meats, heavier, more fatty things. And in the summertime, we're going to naturally crave lighter, cooling foods like lettuces, berries, really sweet, light foods. So seasonally, we will get cravings as well. And that's a good thing. We want to be craving things with the seasons and eating locally with the seasons. Another one is hormonal. So we all have hormonal balances, and during your menstrual cycle or menopause or whatever cycle you may be in, or guys, you might sympathize with the women in your lives, we are going to get certain cravings, and cravings will be stronger at that time of month. So something to be aware of. There's definitely some great things to eat at that time. You can have maca powder, which balances hormones. Cacao powder is amazing for that. Very high in magnesium, something we lose in that time of the month. And also sweet potatoes are amazing. And our final one is called self-sabotage. And this is when we know we're doing well and we purposely sabotage ourselves and cause ourselves to fail. So a lot of times we're afraid that we are going to be our most amazing selves. We're going to be rock stars. And if we do that, we have a fear come up around it. So if that does happen, we just want to know and see it happening and say, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to let myself be my highest, my best, my most awesome, amazing self. So now I want to talk about substitutions. So we're going to dive into sweet substitutions first, because of course, most people have sweet cravings. And sweet cravings come from, a lot of times, if it's sweet and creamy, it's more of a comfort thing. We need more comfort in our lives. So this is our body craving things like that. And if we have that craving, there are so many amazing alternatives to eat that are going to make our body thrive and be good for us, instead of be things that will really hinder our most awesomeness coming out. So some sweet things, sweet potatoes, and also sweet potato fries. If you're having a crunchy and sweet craving, sweet potato fries are amazing. Another great one, sweet vegetables are naturally awesome. So like onions, beets, carrots, these are naturally sweet foods, and especially when they're cooked, they'll get even more sweet, which is awesome. So dig into naturally sweet foods first. If that's not curbing the craving, then we can go to something like a dessert smoothie or a milkshake kind of smoothie. Josh and I love these. They're so fun, and it's like a treat. I mean, it's really like you're eating a milkshake, and we have that in the program, the strawberry milkshake, and we're making it with avocado and strawberries and almond milk and things that are not hurting our bodies. They're actually making us better. So how awesome would that be when you get a sweet craving, if you can give in to the sweet craving and also be doing something good for yourself at the same time? So rad. And also another great dessert smoothie to make is like a peanut butter, almond butter, cacao, almond milk kind of mixture. Oh, it's so good. It's a treat. And another thing we can have is banana ice cream. So if we're having that creamy sweet thing, Banana ice cream is amazing. All you do is freeze bananas, put a small teaspoon of almond butter, and sometimes if you have a low-powered blender, you want to add a little almond milk to it. But oh my gosh, it will blend up and be the exact consistency of ice cream, and it is amazing. That's a go-to for Josh. Like, there is always frozen bananas in our freezer because he's always making his favorite banana ice cream. And you can add other flavorings too. We like to add some cinnamon in there, and it's so good. Another thing you can do is you can make sorbet, but you can make it just out of fruit. So if you buy a carton of strawberries, freeze them, and then blend them, they're going to turn into the most amazing sorbet of your life. It is so good, I can't even tell you. Same thing with peaches. Freeze a bunch of peaches and then blend them. Wow. Yeah, again, a real treat. So strawberries alone are another great one. This is something that Josh's mom gave to us as a suggestion, and we've been doing and just totally loving. So at times when we would have normally gone to the grocery store and maybe spent money on something that wasn't so good for us, we're going to go and spend that $5 or however much it is on nice organic strawberries. You always want to buy your strawberries organic. And we're going to splurge and buy strawberries and eat the whole container. For me growing up, I was not allowed to eat the whole container at once. And so it feels like a really great, oh, look at this butterfly. That's the best thing about recording outside, huh? Man, that was amazing. So back to our strawberries. We can take our strawberries and we can eat the whole carton ourselves and really indulge and have something super nutritious and healthy for our bodies. We can also do an avocado mousse, which is delicious. So you're just whipping up an avocado in a blender with some cacao and some, I use grade A 100% pure maple syrup. Delicious. So good. It's just like a mousse. And we also make things like black bean brownies and peanut butter blondies. And none of these have any glutinous flour or any ingredients that you wouldn't want to put into your body. They're all high nutrient food, anti-inflammatory kind of stuff. So really delicious. And you can also make your own 3-ingredient chocolate, which is just some cacao powder. Then you mix it with some kind of a sweetener like maple syrup or raw honey. And then you also blend it with some kind of flour like an almond flour or coconut flour, something like that, a gluten-free flour. And then also another thing you can do is just buy a bar of over 70% dark chocolate at the store and just eat a bar of chocolate. I'm not saying eat the whole thing, but like a square of 90% dark chocolate is all I need. And it's really just perfect for that sweet craving. So there's so many beautiful things you can do for that. The next one is crunchy cravings. A lot of times when we're craving something crunchy, it means that we're not diving into something in our lives. We've said this many times, but in this case, it's this frustration. We want to crunch. We want to crunch our mouths like that because we're so frustrated, almost like we're squeezing our fist and we're not dealing with it. So we really want to deal with what issue is coming up for us when we're having those crunchy cravings. But foods that you can substitute for a crunchy craving would be things like brown rice cakes. Love these. They're so good and really crispy crunchy. You can also make homemade popcorn really easy by buying non-GMO corn at the grocery store. And then you put it with some coconut oil and some of that great pink Himalayan sea salt, pop it up, and it's so good. Another thing is those sweet potato fries, or you can roast veggies till they're nice and crispy. That's so good too. Another thing for a creamy craving, we're going to get into creamy. Creamy, you want comfort. Crunchy, you have something frustrating that you need to get off your chest. Creamy is like, I want to be comforted. Something makes me feel like I need that extra love. So creamy stuff like cheese, I usually get cheese cravings. We can substitute with hummus. We can substitute with cashews. Blended cashews make a great cheese alternative. If we put a little nutritional yeast in there, we could also make a great Alfredo alternative with cashews and lemon juice and garlic. So delicious. I do that a lot. And almond cheese is really great too. So you could buy almond cheese at the store, but preferably when I want something creamy, like if I'm having traditional Mexican food and I would like there to be cheese on it, I just put some hummus on there for my sour cream and my cheese substitute, and it's amazing. It does the trick. Another thing, when we want something fizzy or caffeinated, then we can go to kombucha. Kombucha is amazing. It's a nice fizzy drink. So instead of having soda, We can do kombucha instead of having beer or alcohol. Great alternative. And another thing that you can also do if you're having a caffeine craving, like you want energy, goji berries, cacao powder, maca powder, all gonna boost the energy naturally while giving you amazing nutrients. Super high nutrient food right there. And then if we want bready food, you know, we're having that bread craving, Ezekiel bread would be the bread you want to go with. That's really the best one on the market. And another thing you can make is bread out of like cauliflower. So there's amazing recipes for that as well, like a cauliflower pizza. We can do a lettuce wrap. I know that's not bread, but it really kicks the craving. You know, anytime I wrap my burger in lettuce or I wrap tacos in lettuce, it really does the trick for me. I don't need that extra bread or corn tortilla. Another thing is banana pancakes. So they're kind of bready, but they're only 3 ingredients and you know what's going into them. They're great. And then our final one would be fatty stuff. So we want to go for things like oils, high quality oils, really nice high quality olive oil or coconut oil, grapeseed, avocado, amazing. You always want to get cold pressed. A lot of times you want to get that in a dark bottle so that the oil does not go rancid. A lot of oils on the shelves in the supermarket are rancid and you don't want to eat that. Not good for your body, very toxic. So you can also do a high quality butter if you're craving fatty things, or a raw milk. And high quality butter is something like Kerrygold. Just make sure it's grass fed, try and get raw, and just amazing. So these are all of our substitutes. There's so many more, but this is just scratching the surface. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked learning about cravings, because it really is your body's way of saying, I'm deficient in something. I need you to pay attention to me. I need your help. It's not some kind of weakness that we have. It's just an awareness. So go into cravings looking at it like that, and we'll be in amazing shape. And I hope you can share with us what you liked about this video. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Love you.